Hey guys, welcome to Outpaceme podcast. Every so often I get somebody that comes in that is very specific to the thing that they do for a living, or they have very specific thing that they do. And today's guest is Patrick Winn, who is probably one of the best problem solvers and fastest processing people I've seen. I don't say that lightly. It's really interesting to see him go from thought to question, curiosity to action in a matter of seconds. And it's proved to be very advantageous for his life and decisions he's made in his business, his faith, his family, all very intentional. And I'm excited to introduce him to you guys. Enjoy this podcast. Patrick Winn, welcome to the podcast.
What's up, man? Thanks
What's
for
up?
having me.
All right, so all the formalities out of the way. Now we can be ourselves. I am ecstatic to be in the presence of you, and here's why. Over the years, you and I have had the chance of being in investment space and maybe signage and things in the past. You've had your hand in like so many cookie jars, right? And what I've done also is I've done like in the past year, I've worn like 7 hats, right? And I think we both enjoy casting our nets really, really wide. What are you doing right now?
I think things have kind of simmered down. That was my first thought when you said you cast your net real wide. As you know, when you do that, you have to have an expectation of something falling off, right? You cast it to try to see what sticks. But if you don't cast it, you don't know. And so when things do fall off, you have to be okay with saying, great, that wasn't the thing I needed. Let me put all of that energy into this thing. So
What are some hats you're wearing in that space?
I still help run a couple Fast Lines locations. I do sales, and I had a meeting this morning. We're doing Brooks & Morgan Realty Advisors. So we're advising people on helping them run numbers and find investments and make good offers and manage the properties and fight the taxes and get people in and out efficiently.
So let's time out on that one real quick. Brooks & Morgan is your brand new team.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that it's what, maybe 3 or 4 months old?
January.
Oh, no. Okay, so January. Guys, if you want to check out what it looks like to have a hyper-local market team and somebody that knows the ins and outs of all of Keller, Texas, you guys are it. Like, you guys have the market cornered within 4 months of bringing in businesses to support. You've got people that are watching what you're doing from afar, and I guarantee you there are agents that are going to be asking you soon, hey, what's it look like to be inside your team?
Genuine.
From
the heart.
Yeah.
Me and Holly joke, and you got to be careful with this, as you know, because there's some clients that become lifelong friends. There's some clients that you have to keep. You have to love them from right here.
Right.
We joke, we're like, man, it's like from clients to friends, because I want to invite everybody over and have some of my smoked chickens and my turkey burgers. And like, I want people in our house. I want to know people on that level, because when you do, you can really help them. And so it's just so genuine. We shop there, we eat there, we take our kids to school there, we go to the parks. I work out with a group of guys called F3. Shout out, guys. I love y'all.
Oh, who runs that joint? You know?
I just started like a couple weeks ago.
You like it?
Man, I feel right at home.
So you work, okay, I was going to say, one of your hats you wear is working out. Like,
I love it.
It's
Every
your
day.
jam. Every day. I got the pleasure of going over to your house a couple of weeks ago and like got to see, I'll be honest with you, it was a lot of fun. Like, I hate the thought of lifting weights because I'm a cardio guy, but now that I'm entering in the phase of what I'm doing now, it's something that you've inspired me to do. So thank you for that. A lot of people don't know you, and I like to start strong with a topic that you can get comfortable in this zone of podcasting, right? You know that, and we'll get back in your hats in a second, but Holly is your backbone. Holly's his wife, who's amazing. Holly, shout out. You know what? Holly should be here with us right now. I need to think about
Probably.
that. But I don't know.
She's
how
at home with the kids,
being
the backbone.
She's awesome.
Also writing up an offer. So,
dude, yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So it's you and Holly right now that started Brooks & Morgan. And what are some of your aspirations in that team right now? What do you think you want to do? Just in the next year, what do you want to do?
Well, as far as like tangible goals, we want to close 38 deals this year.
That's awesome.
We're probably almost to 15 right now.
Really?
Either under contract, in option period, closing date set, or have already closed.
So let's can we dive into your numbers real quick?
Sure.
You've been in real estate investing for over 10 years.
Mm.
But you've had your license for how long?
Since November of last year.
Y'all, that's hard to do. This is the reason you're here on Outpace Me, because I'm always looking for people. And by the way, this is the definition of Outpace Me for me. This is the people that I want to bring into my space. If I'm watching from afar and you're providing value to people at an unprecedented level, I mean, I try really hard to do that. And if you are passing me up, you get the hot seat.
You add more direct value. I like to be in the background.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I like to be in the background. I like to have the faith for people when they don't. You're a direct conduit.
Okay.
You know, so like you speak into people's lives better than I do. I like to be there when they need me, when they're like, help.
You're the strength. You're like flexing in the background.
So, yeah, so since November, but I also have 10 to 15 fast lines appointments a week. We have the Brooks Morgan Realty Advisors.
Yep.
We're flipping houses. We have 15 units plus 2 commercial buildings. We own a bunch of land.
Good grief.
So I just I just try to cast my net and
yeah,
see what sticks. But in the world of sales, and something like COVID comes along, you got to have something.
That's interesting. So that's a great transition, by the way. I'm in the space of what can I do if something goes wrong, right? That's where my mind goes whenever I go, I need 7 hats.
Mm-hmm. Same.
Is that same?
Same.
Okay.
It's an anxious thought.
It's kind of interesting because both of us are believers, right? And we sit in the space of where we shouldn't worry, and we know that God's got our back, right? And we know that. Like we've seen it over and over and over, how faith has come forward. It's not always pleasant, though. You ever notice that? Like God is not here for you to be happy.
No.
We're here to serve him. And so when we sit in that space, sometimes it's really hard that we might fail.
And that's okay.
And it's okay. Because
that's the worst case scenario is that you fail, but you'll figure it out.
Your shirt says, "In God we must."
In God we must. Let your lion out.
Dude,
That's what the back says. I tell my son that all the time.
Yeah. Okay. So Ford, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's
the Brooks of Brooks and Morgan.
He's the Brooks. Thank you. That's what I was going to ask you, is where that name came from.
Paisley Morgan and Ford Brooks.
Nice. Okay. And do you? So what are you doing to speak into your children right now? I struggle with that. We do that.
Yeah. Man, one of the things that I started saying to them is, "You're the perfect person for this family." And just letting that be what they need it to be that day, and not worrying about, I also tell him, like, on the way to school, we'll do little affirmations. And
you do that.
Sometimes
That's
he
so
responds,
cool.
Sometimes he doesn't respond.
Yeah.
I always tell him he's got what it takes. I think every man needs to hear that.
Mm.
Whether it's from their dad or not, they need to hear it from a coach or from a mentor or whatever, but why not me, right?
That's so incredible.
And then my daughter, just being sure she knows that I think she's beautiful. But more than words, I let them see me do stuff.
The latest thing I've seen you do with them on that you've presented the world with is you singing to them. And I think it was your daughter.
Yeah.
The last one. How adorable, man. Like to have that soft side of somebody that is extremely hard. Is that a hard thing to balance with?
It's vulnerable. Oof. But the kids need to see that. They need to know, like, if she's having a hard day in 15 years and she just wants daddy to sing to her, like, come on.
I'm sorry, Ella, for not having a voice. Okay. That's my 16-year-old, right? She knows I love her in other ways.
You don't have to sing pretty.
No, it's terrible. It might make her cry. No, that's beautiful, man. This is the friendship that I love, is that side of things. Because we started off, just to be vulnerable here with my side of the story, is I saw you come in to the space. I knew, coming into this from corporate America and getting into real estate, knowing in the back of my brain the whole time I've been investing in my own stuff, like buying homes and keeping them and going off of other places, buying other homes. I knew that what I was doing in that space, but I never thought I could do it for a living. But whenever I transitioned out of corporate and got here, I was on an island. And when I got on that island, I realized that I wanted to push every day for the sake of me. I wasn't comparing myself to anybody. Right. And there was very few people that I could resonate with doing that. And people started labeling me, and it was fine. It's okay. From afar, it does. It looks like I'm a neck stomper or whatever the word they used to say, that guy he's got a gas tank the size of this room. And then I met Craig Couch. And then he had this way to harness all of that emotion and all of the emotional intelligence into a manageable ball, to where when you talk to him, it didn't feel like he was a neck stomper.
Right.
And then I realized there was a step up from that, right? And then next thing you know is I got and sat in that space, I became part of Indwell, and then people like you come in, and all of a sudden, I've got a community of people. So it's been a huge blessing to sit in your space at the beginning to try to coach you guys. But what I realized quickly is there's no harnessing your learning capability in the space is extremely quick. And yes, you need a coach. It's just not me. Just to be honest.
I haven't found one.
And that's good to hear. I mean, like you've got something special in order to knock out 15 deals between you and Holly between, the first of the year and today. That's special. I don't know of anybody that's got 15 right now in our space, just to be honest. I know some people that are doing fairly well, but to be able to be mom and dad, to be able to run businesses on the side, to have time to work out and do the things you love, and knock out deals to help people inside of, what's the furthest house that you've got that you've helped recently from the house parameter?
The one that I had the people back out of was Joshua, Texas. But I know that market because we own multiple.
That's hard. Okay.
Units there.
Are you going to start limiting how far you serve?
Not if it's an area that I'm very confident in,
You have to have competency in that space.
There's one in Cleveland that I'm trying to present to these guys. If they don't buy it, you need to take a look at it. If you don't want it, I'll probably buy it.
Is it the fourplex?
No, I'm writing a contract on that this morning.
Okay.
Holly is.
Did you guys get what you? Don't say it. Don't say it.
I mean, I'll share anything.
I know, but it's before the contract, so I don't want to. So I want to make sure that you follow the guidelines. And so
There's suggestions, right?
It's just suggestions.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay, how is the investment side of the fence for you guys right now? Give me some ideas of helping people that are listening to this right now in the throes of mid-spring, beginning of summer. Where are you in investing?
I'm pretty much just advising right now.
Yeah.
I might buy this one deal because it's in Cleveland and I own properties in Cleveland, and it already has one side rented for more than I thought it could get.
Yeah.
So therefore, the other side should be easy. I already have a property manager down there. Aside from that, I'm just advising people on running numbers and flipping, and I'm funding some rehabs, excuse me, for some guys that have enough money to buy it but don't have enough money to fix it up. So I'm funding the rehab, and they pay me a percentage of.
So the populace out there that's looking at this going, are you serious? There's still people investing in properties right now.
Yeah, we have 3 or 4 investors under contract flipping. Holding.
Here's my suggestion to anybody that's considering that. Call you first. Anybody's considering that, sincerely, like, I think this is better than an average market right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was better yesterday.
Yeah, well,
and the day before that, and the day before that, and
I told Kara that it was like Bitcoin. You don't know what it's going to
do. the average appreciation in the state of Texas over the last 6 years is like 68%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even like 2 or 3% of that is better than what you're going to get in your savings
Even
account.
a caveman can do it.
Yeah. Seriously. I'm not much smarter than a caveman. I just run a lot of numbers.
That's where we are together. No, but I mean, that's where we're going to give hope to people is know that all the years that you've got of it for experience, that you're still able to provide value for people and say, here's the parameters of what your budget looks like. And here's what it looks like to hand off to a property management team to where you can be hands off and still make $600 $100 a month.
And an investment's not only multifamily or a rental property. You can go into something with 5% down, 3.5% if it's your first house.
Listen, y'all, this is really important.
as an investment, looking at it as an investment for the future, knowing that you're going to save every dollar or rent a couple rooms out, or if you got a space like this, rent this bad boy out.
That's happening, by the way.
And then save all that money, and then when you're ready to move, you keep that house. Now it's a rental.
Tell me how you feel about this. A lot of my clients I've told, and it's really broken the ice for me not being a salesy guy. I tell them, buy the house. Don't ever sell it. We'll figure out a way to where you can create generational wealth in that space.
Love it. I have a client right now. Bought a house. He came down here from Tennessee. Bought a house. It was probably listed high because it was in 2020.
Yeah,
He
for
paid,
sure.
He paid $30,000 over what it was asking.
Which is normal.
He wants to move, right?
Okay.
He's talked to his neighbor across the street. I'll sell your house.
Right.
He calls me. I said, you're ready to lose $40,000? Don't sell that house. You have enough money to buy this other house if you really just hate the area you're in. Let's rent it, make you a couple $100 a month. When the market is back and you don't lose your shirt, then we sell it.
And how many facets of things to do in renting a home? I mean, you can Airbnb it, you can midterm lease it, you can long-term lease it, you can do, I mean, the world's your oyster right now.
Yeah, and he was worried about lease agreements and getting it rented and management and finding a renter. We found him a renter in 12 hours.
There you go.
He has all my lease agreements. He marked it up, added some stuff. I changed it.
Isn't that beautiful that he had that relationship with you? And how important it is for people to understand that that's your service. I always like to remind people what it is that we do. It's not being a realtor. I mean, it's not the barrier for entry for being a realtor is low. I'll tell you where we add value to people is somebody has a problem. They want to get to a solution. We step in between and go, do you want to get there quicker and more professionally with all of the stuff, the paperwork that you've got? Let's get to you to that, whatever that is, quicker. That's what you're paying us for. Yeah. And I have seen it every deal. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, every deal. If somebody wouldn't have had the representation there, it'd have been a mess.
If he would have had his next door neighbor sell his home, she didn't have another plan from what he's telling me.
He just would have lost money.
Yeah, she just wanted a deal. And I don't want a deal because I don't want anyone to lose any money. This guy's a businessman too. He just had to get down here. He was almost stuck having to pay for that house what he paid for it.
Wow.
He owned $1 million company that he sold, and so he's a businessman.
Yeah.
I don't want him to lose his shirt on a real estate deal and then, one, hate real estate forever, and then, two, feel inferior somewhere else, like, because he'll think about that forever.
Yeah.
I would.
I'm so happy that you're in my brokerage. Like, to watch you like do your thing in that space is so incredibly cool. Because the way I do business is different, right? And it's not one size fits all. It's different for everybody. Let me ask you this. Let me give you a scenario of, let's say I owned a house right now. Guys, this is what I want you to think about. Anybody that bought a house in the past 3 years, maybe 4, got a decent rate on their mortgage, right? Let's say it's 3% or maybe just slightly less than 3%. If I got a house in Benbrook for $340,000 right now, and I only owe, let's say, $150 to $200 on the whole property, it's a positive cash flow scenario for the investor in that space. But what would you do with that house right now? Would you, if you were to sell it, would you look at maybe somehow leveraging that low interest rate into a deal of some sort with terms?
Why do you want to sell it?
Let's say that the property's in the early 60s, late 70s, and it's at that point where all of us are looking at cast iron plumbing and foundations and things like that. And it's gotten to where, yeah, I can still profit if I keep the property and fix everything. But realistically, I can just buy another property.
Time to move on.
Yeah.
You've maximized the potential, possibly.
Maybe, yeah. But what I'm trying to get at is the interest rate is so attractive for a lot of people out there. Now, there's things for assumables. Have you ever dealt with assumable?
I know about it. I've never done it.
Yeah, I've not known too many people that have done it.
There's not a lot of mortgages out there that have that in it anymore.
Have the ability to do that?
Has a clause in it that says it's not assumable. That'd be.
The VA can do it, but then they lose the ability to ever use VA again.
Exactly. And so, I mean, if I was a lender, I would not put I would put it was not assumable in my loans. I want to make the money again.
Yeah.
I guess if you need the cash, you
Yeah.
sell it.
Yeah. So we do flips. We do, I say we, my wife and I, we do Airbnb. We do investment long-term. We do midterm. We get a lot of business midterm, like a lot.
Yeah.
And we'll do furnished midterms.
Okay.
And those have been doing really well.
How much more do you think you get a month? Like furnished
Bro,
versus not furnished?
I'm going to speak anonymously where these houses are, but I've got one on Trinity River. Now, I bought it really inexpensively.
Trinity River North?
You know where REI is off of Brian Irwin? Behind it.
Okay.
Like literally behind REI. It cash flows $2,900 net per month.
Furnished. 6 months.
It's on both Airbnb and midterm.
Okay.
So what you can do is you can put it on Zillow and you can actually put it in the description, available for this rate for less than 6 months, you know. Or you can call your insurance company. This is a secret. Call your insurance company. Be put on the list for people that you can.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know.
we're doing that with RVs right now.
What?
People that get displaced,
Yeah.
insurance pays like $200 bucks a day. We're
Stupid.
buying RVs for like $15,000, $20,000, parking them in their front yard, hooking them up to the utilities. $5,000, $6,000 a month, couple months,
Golly.
no payments.
You're doing that.
Me and a buddy, yeah. He's got like 6 or 7 out. If a hurricane hits,
It's over.
we'll buy 6 or 7 more. and
That's so
go,
awesome.
Go really help people.
Where do you put them on? Where do you put them? How do
At
you
his
do that?
house. I just saw. We closed this week on a 4 or 5 acre property that he just puts them in the back. So he was
Oh.
paying a couple $1,000 a month for covered storage.
Really?
Yeah, and now we put him right on his property.
That is wild. So my guess is the restrictions are something you have your attorney look at before you even consider that, right?
What restrictions? It's all paid by the insurance company.
No, I mean, like you can't park like 17 RVs on
there's no restrictions on his
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
on his property.
Yeah.
I don't know how he found it. It's 1 mile from Keller in Haslett.
Keep that one quiet. We
no-
might need to edit that one out. Damn, dude.
I don't know
That's
how he found
insane. Wow. But no, I mean, we had 98% occupancy last year on our stuff. It'll be less this year for sure.
I had a 6-month lease, and I was going to get $200 or $300 more a month, but I needed like $10,000 of work done on this. It's a bigger property. It's right off the Trinity River too, over off White Settlement Road,
Yeah.
the River District.
Yeah. Right next to Heim over there.
Right across the street from Heim.
Yeah.
I needed like $10,000 done, and so I rented to this kid. He house hacked his first house. Is looking for the second house hack. I'm kind of advising him and his buddy there. They're young. They're like 21, 22. They work at and run equipment rental place.
Yeah.
I'm like, check it out. I was going to charge you $1,700 a month. I'll charge you the normal rate of $1,400 a month. You guys clean the lot up. They clean the entire lot up. It was going to cost me $7,000 to $10,000. I had to remove a fence and like 2 or 3 or 4 trees.
And they did a good job.
Yeah. I mean, it's all in a pile still.
Yeah.
I didn't tell them to take it off property. I should have put that in the contract, but you know.
But for the money, I think you got your money's worth.
Yeah, I won on that one.
You definitely won.
So I'm just saying, like, another option for another way to maximize your property and not spend a bunch of money, you know.
Interesting. So rent to own that's where I went with that one property.
Owner finance.
Owner
yeah.
finance, yeah.
I mean, you can get like 10% right now.
That's at a minimum.
Yeah, like that would be good. 10% for 10 years, 10% down.
That's really interesting. So if you guys have a property right now, call me or Patrick. Because if you've got a property that has that much equity and a low interest rate, I mean, the cash flow on that would be substantial.
There's people you can owner finance it too that do Airbnb.
Arbitrage.
I can't
Is
do
that what you're talking? What were you talking about?
Well, I just know there's people that like don't have the money
Yeah.
to purchase the property, do Airbnb, so you owner finance it to them, and like they'll just on 10%, they'll just rent it out till it makes a little bit of money because they do hundreds of them. They don't need like we want $1,000, $2,000 a month. They just
Right.
want a couple hundred over.
My neighbors do it. I think they're at 60 right now. It's insane. Like,
Yeah, you could do that. I would think about owner financing it, but cash is king.
yeah. If you haven't caught on, obviously I talk a lot about real estate in this for my past two guests. For the people that aren't living this every day, there's a lot of opportunities right now.
You need to know about real estate. If you don't,
talk to them, please. Let them know.
You need to not read the headlines and talk to somebody who knows, because the headlines are not what's actually happening. And that's one of the things I stress to our clients, is that not only, and you're in the exact same spot, not only do I help people buy, but I'm buying.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to have my own money on the line.
Yeah.
To take the risk, to see if I can resell it, right? Like, I know where the market's going. We're flipping a house right now. And if I wasn't doing that, how would I advise anybody properly, right?
I think what's really awesome for me is to be able to call you in the space of, even me, y'all. I call him for advice. Or if you're in this situation, what would you do? Scenarios. We do this probably once or twice a month. Like, hey, dude, check this out. And
some months, every day.
Oh my gosh.
If there's a deal that we're both looking at.
I can't believe the past 3 that we've done. I can't believe my people passed on those. Like, it was a no-brainer. Like, no-brainer.
That's the spot we're trying to get to in our business right now, is using the cash flow that the business makes to put in the bank account. So if people don't want a deal, we buy it.
That's it.
Or, I saw this billboard the other day. Let me know how you feel about this. The guy said, list your house with me. If you don't sell it, I'll buy it. If it doesn't sell, I'll buy it.
Have you seen the disclaimer on that?
No.
It's astounding.
It's a good one for him.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Yeah.
Well, I just thought that was interesting. I'm like, okay.
I mean, he names all the terms. I mean,
I want you to list it at $100,000 over.
Right. Sorry, you had to buy it.
Yeah.
And he's buying it for 20 cents on the dollar. Yeah. Well, that brings up a good point. We were going to talk about some of our roles that are changing, evolutionizing, I like to call it, of buyer's agents, and what the world is kind of flipping it on its head. What are your thoughts about the new class action lawsuit that has been brought against real estate?
I just read yesterday that someone got the DOJ to agree to not look into it. I don't know what that means exactly. I don't know.
So you think it's a moot point at this point? I mean, it's a class action lawsuit.
I think it'll go to the Supreme Court.
Okay. So do you want to spitball, or are you like, it's not worth it? Okay.
Yeah. I think it's weird that I think it's 7 people had a bad agent, didn't get what they wanted, didn't understand the contract, and now it's gotten to this point.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
Well, hang on. Let's keep it judgment free, because I'm trying to do this right now.
I'm not judging the people. I'm judging the judge.
Oh, good call.
Right? It's like,
good call.
You can bring whatever lawsuit you want, but let's be real. You're not paying the buyer's agent if you're the seller. You're paying your broker.
Let me be.
Tell me if I'm wrong. You know more about that than I do.
Well, I'm not even pretending like I know more. The only reason I feel a little bit educated in the space is because I had a family member that lived in New Zealand, and they don't have buyer's agents there. And if they do, you know what they do? This is so interesting. They take, if they want you, say you wanted to buy a house, you take 20% of your proceeds and put it in a trust account, and it gets basically held, let's call it by title. And this
from the seller?
From the buyer. The buyer has to take the 20% and put it in this trust account. Okay. That proves how serious they are about buying a house.
Like an escrow account.
It's like an escrow account.
Okay.
No different.
Earnest money.
Same thing, right? Except they're actually taking the tangible cash and saying, look, I've done my part. If you want to hire somebody to represent you in that space, you pay out of that 20% pile. You with me? So it's all buyer stuff. The sellers are like, here, either I'm going to put it up on auction, or I'm going to list it, and it's going to be like one open house, and we'll have 500 offers.
Because there's just such a shortage?
Such a shortage. And to be honest with you, the quality of homes in New Zealand is terrible, sub 1 million.
So is there a reserve on the auction?
I'm sure. I'm sure there's all kinds of stipulations in that, but the seller never pays for that side of the fence.
I heard that. I've heard that argument a couple of times. You know what I say? Move to New Zealand. This is America. We do things different.
Well, Okay, so we're back to America
Like
now.
win world wars.
I'm a seller, you're a buyer. I say I don't mind paying for my representation. I'm not going to pay for a person to negotiate against me.
Fair enough, but you're not paying for that person. You're paying.
Explain that to me.
You have agreed, Mr. Seller, to pay 6%
I didn't.
to your broker. You signed the contract.
I paid. I just like pretend like this is a new one.
Okay.
I don't want to pay anybody. I don't want to pay the other broker anything.
That's in the contract.
It's in the contract.
Okay. That's fine. My clients will pay for me.
Oh, see.
I know that they will.
Really?
Because they're doing it right now. I have two properties where they're paying me a flat fee because I bring them the properties.
So that's a great point. Do we forget about whether or not this is ethical or not? Do you see buyer's agents going to flat fees?
I do it from these guys because this will be the second property they bought from me this year.
Okay.
So I'm like, but if I list it, I get 3%.
So why are they paying you a fee instead of there being a percentage that gets paid to you from the other broker? Because there's no other broker?
There's no other broker.
Because it's off the market.
I'm bringing them off market. But if there is another broker, they'll still pay me my $5,000 to make their offer better, right? So 3% less to 5.
I'm hoping nobody caught that because that is some gangster stuff inside of that.
But they trust me.
Yeah.
And then our Brooks Morgan Realty advisors helps them with the remodel, maybe even funds the remodel, helps them get it rented, helps them put it back on the market, whatever they want to do, whatever their goal is. And then I get 3% when I list it.
Yeah.
But they pay me because this will be the second one. And we've got 2 or 3 more lined up that they're like, hey, if we get the cash flow and they're still in the market, let's go.
Where are you finding your properties mostly?
I find them on the MLS or on like commercial real estate sites that they'll put.
You go to MLS and they have the same access that you do.
But they can't put a deal together.
Ah, so that's what you're
Deals aren't found, you make them. Sometimes you find them, right?
I'm going to get a mic, like a foam mic, and just let you drop it.
A little
Here, I'll just give you. There you go.
Just 10 years of making a lot of mistakes. That's all it is, right? And you just learn like, oh, that could have been better because I did that wrong, or I could have done
So
that.
your value, that's interesting. So your value is not even finding the deals for them. It's putting the deal together.
Yeah. And then telling them, because at face value, like the offer we're putting in today at full ask with the low rents,
yeah,
it doesn't really make any money.
So if I had $300,000 in my hand right now and I came to you and I said,
I'd take you to Georgia and we buy a 12-unit complex that's already for sale. And I already have my offer ready to go. I ran all the numbers. It's going to make like, I don't remember.
Like north or?
You unsubscribed from my emails. If you wouldn't have done that, you would have got this one.
Dude, you called me out. I love that so much because I am sick of not being in control of my domain. It drives me nuts.
You didn't hurt my feelings. You're just missing out on some good deals.
You're serious. That's like when you, hang on, you mean you send emails and they're really decent deals inside those emails?
I only send them if I would buy them.
Bro, that's what hey, listen to me when I say this. Start advertising that. Because there's people like me out there that
You unsubscribe.
No. Because the message is, what's the message right now? If you receive an email from a wholesaler, are you going to pay attention to it?
I unsubscribe.
That's what my point is.
I'm not a wholesaler, Eric.
I know you're not. I'm not insinuating you are. I'm just telling you that if you put an ad out that said to all your people, let's say you did a video to people in your text and say, listen, you're going to be getting an email from me soon. By the way, I'm going to do this. Hey, this is actual deals. These are things that I'm working on. This is not a blanket, what you normally see. These are actual deals.
I'm gonna try to find this one for you.
Please do. So
here it is. It's Corpus Christi.
Corpus Christi.
You got to look down and look at my pro forma. You got to look at year 1's fine, right? At the offer price, year 1's fine, but year 2 and year 3 is where you really start to make some serious cash flow.
So $900,000 for
it's not what we're offering, right? Because the rents aren't there.
Oh wow. Wow, they're looking at 3 and 4 years in, you got a 10% return.
Yeah. And you didn't put any more cash up to do so. You just raised the rents. You didn't fix anything. So imagine if you fixed some things and upgraded some things, you could really raise the rents.
So it says
I didn't even really raise the rents. I just turned the units over in this scenario and put them at what market is today.
So you did these numbers?
Yeah.
This is insane. I wish you guys could see this, like legitimately laid out.
If anybody wants it, I can email it to you. It's still on the market.
What's an email that people can email you?
Hello at brooksmorgan.com.
Hello, HELLO at brooksmorgan.com. That's dude, that's legit. Get ready.
So if you had 300 grand, that's where I'd take you. And you could 1031 exchange that one over here in Benbrook. But I got to list it for you. I'm kidding.
That's hilarious.
That's what I would do. Sell it and then 1031 into something bigger.
There's such a niche market for even inside of like realtors that need help doing this.
I'll you know me, I'll share anything with anybody.
No, I mean, like, you could make a flat fee off of realtors that want to do this because they're taking everybody else's money and putting it in all the time. They see all these deals. There's like, what, 5% of the realtors out there that actually invest in properties?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. What is something else that you are doing right now that you're excited about? What are you reading? What are you reading right now?
I'm really not the Bible.
Really?
In the morning. That's the, man.
What was your deal today?
I do this app called Pray First.
Okay.
There's like 4 or 5 guided prayers. It just walks you like through like 20 minutes of prayer. And I read a little bit of Luke 12. Pretty good. I like the red letters.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But man, I go the second my son is in bed, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
I was asleep at like 8:30 last night.
I think, yeah, I noticed that too. Craig does that too, by the way. 9 o'clock, he's out.
I got to sleep. I'm up at 3:30, 4:15, quiet time, coffee, quiet time, workout, go. I just got to sleep.
Your pedal, I would say that of all the people I know, your pedal is pushed to the floor the second you get up to the second you go to sleep.
I like it.
No, I know. It's amazing. I mean, there's people that cannot do that, by the way.
Everybody could do that.
No, they
yeah,
can't.
Sure they can. Just like anybody could invest in real estate or become an agent or go to the military or right. Like,
yeah.
It's my belief that it's the decisions you're making or not making that get you to where you want to be.
Okay.
At this point, after 10 years, maybe longer, since I played college football and you didn't really have a choice then. I just feel best when I'm productive, just not busy, right? Productive.
Yeah.
Plus, I want my kids to say, you know what, Dad works his rear end off.
How are you going? Let's say that they catch the bug that most teenagers get. And they get in this, I know it all, and I want to be lazy, right? Every one of them catch it, and it doesn't matter what kind of example you provide. That how do you plan on steering through that? I mean, are you gonna?
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying? Like my parents, they didn't tell me about military. I just found it.
Yeah.
And then I joined junior year of high school, and I knew that was my jam. I wanted to be around airplanes. I knew I couldn't fly immediately, so I was like, I'll go to school. And it's the years of Bill Clinton and into Bush and all that, and so it just made sense. And the military really taught me like what it was like to have, a trade. And I know you hear all these things all the time, but dang, it's true.
Well, how was your dad growing up? Present?
My parents split when I was 7. My mom moved to LA, and my dad stayed in Georgia. So I was this hick kid that went to LA with mom.
Okay, so
yeah,
I try to balance, and I'm the same. My parents split when I was young too.
Yeah,
me and my mom. You found a group of guys to confirm what your dad didn't. Mm-hmm. So like being so busy as a dad, you have to when my son comes up and I think he's being inconvenient, I have to stop and say, that's not as important as that.
Yeah.
I have to remember. I mean, there's days, most days I'm like, dude, shut your mouth. Get out of here.
Yep.
But
that's the immature.
I try to be cognizant of whatever I'm doing is not as important as what this is telling him in his heart. So I think, I found that same thing with football.
I was going to ask, I was going to correlate that. How did football do that?
I was good at football. And so like everyone was like, oh my gosh, all these schools, come over here, do this, do that, this award, that award, in the newspaper, medals and trophies. And then when college football was over, you're like, whoa, who am I now?
So did you have any insight on that? Like before you graduated, did you know that was coming? That train was coming right for you?
No, I had a buddy who played in the NFL named Johnny Quinn. And he played for Green Bay.
Okay.
In the Olympics now.
Oh, wow.
Pushes bobsled. I don't know if I haven't talked to him in a long, long time, but he invited me to practice at some professional sports workout things during the lockout. And so I did all of that. And then when I was done with that, I was like, man, I think I could probably go somewhere. And when I didn't, train wreck.
Oh, no.
So it was like I thought I had, since I was playing with them, practicing with them.
Yeah.
And all those pro guys, I was like, okay, I can hang. Let's see what happens. And nothing happened. And so get a job at a gas station.
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Golly, I couldn't imagine you working for somebody.
Get a job at a gas station, having to try to graduate in like 6 months. I had like 21 hours left. Volunteering to graduate, all the things. Yeah.
Wow. So when did you meet Holly?
In 2018.
How long between the train wreck and that?
Oh, man, 5 or 6 years.
Okay, so you had a whole life before that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so
a lot of stuff.
Yeah. How do you dig out of that? I mean, like,
man, I was drinking and selling drugs and
really?
Yeah, and then the guy I was buying my drugs from, it was just weed. It was harmless as it could be, right? He got arrested and went to jail for a long, long time, and I was like,
with weed?
I was like, maybe I'll do something different. So I said, I don't want to go to jail.
Thanks for the wake up call. I'm out.
I don't like it that bad.
Yeah.
So stopped doing that, and then, man, I was engaged, and I got engaged, not to Holly,
right?
And the girl moved to Hawaii, literally like a week later. I'm like, oh, so I flew over there and got the ring back.
Did she tell you she was moving?
Not until after I had proposed.
Patrick.
So that's what happens when you drink too much.
Gotcha. The old Las Vegas effect.
Yeah, so I flew over there and got the ring back. And as I was sitting on the beach, I was like, I got a choice. There's a fork in the road.
Yeah.
I can keep doing what I'm doing, or I can do what I know I need to be doing. And so that was 2015. I hadn't drank since.
That's amazing. What a change. Man.
Piece of crap.
When did you get the work harder tattoo?
When I was competing in CrossFit, like 2016 or 2017.
I don't know why that stands out to me. I think there's a part. Okay, so first off, I've always admired your tattoos. They're freaking amazing. But I've never had, I guess I have commitment issues with certain things. Mm. And for you, you were doing squats or whatever, and you could look down and know there was more in your gas tank.
Yeah, that's when I would get tired, I'd lean over on my knees, and so I could see that. But I don't have commitment issues with tattoos. I try not to get stupid stuff. I'm burying this one day anyway, so it's like, whatever.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, you got some amazing. What's the one right here? What is that one?
My mom always says she's going to live to be 103.
Okay.
103 on my.
That's interesting.
I'm holding her to it.
What's the significance to that for you, for her longevity?
Man, that's where I get my gas tank from.
Really?
That's where my gas pedal comes from.
Oh, my gosh.
She works. She is up at 4, works all day long, goes home, walks the dogs, cleans the house. She can go. She comes over on Saturday and plays with both the kids all day long.
Was that your mom over there when I came over there?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so awesome. I got to meet her.
She can go, man.
I didn't know that she was your inspiration. All right. I got the wrong person on the podcast. Let's go. I'm just kidding.
she would come and talk your ear off.
I love it. Okay. So, wow. Okay. I've always wanted to ask you the 103. That was all. I'm glad you presented that.
And then I have the rowboat too. Just keep rowing.
Yeah.
Just keep rowing.
Okay, so hard question time. Knowing that there's no amount of work that we can do in the world to get closer to God. Does that resonate with you, or is it like one of those things you struggle with?
No, because I don't work to get closer to God. I work because he gave me the gas pedal. You know what I mean? So it's like
so good.
I'm working from a place.
Love that.
For him, not from a place to him.
Yeah.
He doesn't need me, but he'll use me if I let him. So I.
Who do you resonate? Who do you resonate with in the Bible? Which character do you?
Man, I like Moses.
Anyone that started off a little janky, but
I know he's a gangster. He'll kill you and bury you in the sand.
Yeah.
And then, man, just leading those people for so long, and then I don't know, the desert, right? You're either in the desert or you're about to go into the desert. So
That's true. John the Baptist at all?
no, he's too crunchy for me, as my wife would say. You know?
So I'm growing the beard for that reason now.
Maybe Paul or maybe Peter. Peter had a quick mouth. I sometimes can have a quick mouth.
I love that. Okay, so one book I'm reading right now is this one on the table here, Unreasonable Hospitality. John Pena gave me that and was like, hey, you need to read this. There's some things in here that remind me about you inside this book, and which was a huge compliment. But what I didn't, this is not what I intended. So I went camping this past weekend, and I got 107 pages in on night one.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good it was. Like I rarely, dude, I'll
like half the book.
Yeah, I'll read. I will read 20 pages, put it down, and then pick it up next year.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
Unless it's good, and then I'm like.
So unless it's good. So what the unintended outcome of me reading those pages was how there's humility in that space. There's obviously for the hospitality portion, but I want to share it with my children now. And I'm trying to phrase it in a way that is, you'll understand what I'm saying. The decisions that he made weren't of his own. This guy. His name's Will. Yeah. And Will goes to his dad for all the major decisions in his life. And his dad is really wise, like super wise. But he doesn't answer him in a way that's, yeah, you should do that, or no, you shouldn't. It's ask the questions, is that the route you want to go based on this? And one of the scenarios he gave in there was you can always start at the very top, the best of the best, and be a part of them, even at the lowest level in that space, and then retract to fit in where you need to be. But you can't do it the opposite. You can't start here and expect to be there in a matter of no time. You can always downgrade, basically. Mm-hmm. And he had two choices. He had two job offers, a really fancy restaurant over here or a mediocre restaurant over here that he would have excelled at, but he would have never made those kind of impacts. And I've made those decisions in my life. Like, you know, we talked about Craig a few minutes ago. Craig is one of those people. Like, he's somebody that I know I can go to ask those questions. I know that I can watch from afar the decisions he makes. And then if I honestly just want to know what's his secret about why he's doing what he's doing, he tells me. And when we had that hike, we did the Appalachian Trail a couple years ago. And we talked about things, and he practiced containment, and he did all these things that was just is masterful in the empathy game. And it was almost like a father figure I didn't have, right? Mm-hmm. So I went into full protective mode, like he's gangster, and I will always be there. Hell or high water, I will always be there for that guy. And I'm hoping you have that person in your life, and I want to be that person for my children.
Yeah, because if you don't, someone else will, right?
Ugh.
That's the fear.
If Holly moves to Hawaii, I'm just kidding. That's terrible. I shouldn't say that. No, I'm with you. Like that's. So I read 2 chapters to my son last night, and there was a part that was pretty emotional. I could tell he was getting emotional about it, and that was some dude reading it to you, right? And what I told him, I'm like, look, I'm going to give you this book when I'm done with it. I'm going to have the pages dog-eared. I'm going to have the things written or underlined in pencil for the things I really want you to resonate. And I want you to keep this for the rest of your life. This is one of those books.
How old is he?
14.
It's important that you coax out those emotions, right? Like, you know, in the world we live in, men are supposed to have it all together, you know, but if you don't have the humility to speak to what you're saying, if you don't have the humility to put yourself in the room where you're the bottom and let your emotions out and be vulnerable, you'll never get to the top.
You're absolutely right. I'm excited because you've got young ones. How old is Ford?
2.5.
Yeah. And Paisley's how?
9 months.
She's so awesome too.
Little squirt.
Yeah. Their personalities are full bore right now. You're starting to see them for who they are, and you've got them in their formative years. And let an old man with a gray beard tell you that stuff legitimately blink of an eye, it's gone. And you have only so much heart before it's hardened completely. So don't harden her heart, especially. Mm. Ford's, he's going to be a little bit impenetrable, I'm afraid, with your genes.
Yeah, he is.
But mom is sensitive, and I know Paisley probably is too. At some point, you're going to look back and go, dude, I shouldn't have said that, or I should have said that. But you're already ahead of the game, and I'm going to celebrate this with you right now, that you're doing an amazing job for your children and your family. I look at you from afar, and I'm extremely impressed with who you are as a man right now. So thank you for being here. Thank you for being open for all the stuff that we go through daily, but also in front of cameras, and doing it with such grace and so much, like, people need to get to know you beyond the stupid real estate stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm just glad I finally got a chance to kind of dive into your life a little bit.
Yeah. But it doesn't always look pretty, I'll tell you
No,
that
no, no.
much.
And you're not perfect. I
By
know.
the grace of God,
I know.
people might think I'm not an idiot. You know?
Oh, man. Okay, so next step, let's talk about future now. We're going to transition the conversation of what do you want to do? What impact do you want to make inside of your career and with your family? And are they different?
Man, the reason I work is for my family.
Good.
I mean, I work for my family so that I don't have to pawn them off on somebody else. You know, like I want to.
You said that twice now. That's interesting.
Yeah, my time with my family is the most important.
Yeah. That's good.
So
okay.
we want to have a team. I don't know what size it will take for us to only do the deals that, you know, are referred to us by our best clients. We want to create a brokerage of our own that helps people create brokerages of their own. We want to bring them in, teach them how to run a business, teach them how to do the numbers, put them in contact with the people that they need to know, mentor them, and then pat them on the bottom and have them do their own thing.
You got me thinking. You got me queued up. I'm not going to lie. The coach in me just kicked in. Having the ability... Dude, you going to spit a ball around?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of why I came.
Oof.
I don't care about all these other people. I mean, I love y'all, but like, I wanted to hang out with you.
All right. All right. Here's what I see, and this is totally. I've not thought about this. You've got. let's talk about. You got your team now. It spawns off. You have to hire a sales manager. You're not going to manage these people, right?
I operate where I operate best, and I hire people for somewhere else. So if that's the place that
Okay. So
I am adding the most value,
let me not speak that into existence for you. My guess is that you'll probably end up hiring somebody to manage
For
people.
sure.
Okay. So the beautiful part is that person doesn't have to change, and you can queue up agents that have been doing this a while that can go into production for 6 months, a year, and then start the transition of making their own brokerage.
right?
You then have a commission agreement for them based on all of your footwork that you've created for them, and they pay you out of that, right?
What do you mean by footwork? Like all the
Like
things that
all
I'm
the-
providing them?
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
stuff, all the value you're giving them. The same question you asked me earlier. What's the value that I bring them, right? And then inside of that space, how much of that is proprietary? How much is this is Brooks Morgan, like start to finish how to be a broker, or start to finish how to run a team is probably a better way.
Yeah, how to be self-sufficient.
Self-sufficient with people.
Yeah.
Leveraging yourself instead of it just being you. Because I'll be honest with you, man, I don't think individual agents is the future. It can't be. Because you and I will walk circles around a single agent. Now, if they want to do 1 or 2 deals, that's not who we're talking about. I mean, they're going to be able to get by with those.
People need smart people so that they can maximize their own potential. You know, an instrument in the wrong hands doesn't sound good.
Mm.
You've got to put the people with the right people. Like you were saying, you're humble enough to be like, look, I'm not y'all's coach.
Oh, yeah. And I'm prideful in that because you guys got 15 deals. But no, I mean, seriously, like we learned together. I learned a lot in that space. Like, I can't kill Coach Holly. There's no way. And then you're going to kill me if I stay on that trajectory. You know what I'm saying? And it's okay. It's okay.
Right. Someone else might be able to, right? Like an instrument in the wrong hands. So
Good point.
People need the right people around them to teach them how to be an agent and leverage things.
Okay, so we've got the thing set up to where you can make money making people into teams.
Yeah. That's our ultimate Brooks Morgan vision.
That is so cool. I've not heard
To
that.
teach people how to be self-sufficient. I mean, from day one, how do you generate your first lead?
Mm-hmm.
entity creation,
Yeah.
management of the entity, payroll, what have you. Get
Can I-
out.
let me
Get
give
out
you-
of here. It's been 18 months. Leave.
Dude, your time frame might be a little bit more
Well, you know,
expedited.
it's just it's so backwards. It's like that guy calling me and being like, "You want to sell my house?" I'm like, "No, you shouldn't sell your house.
Right.
You should rent it."
Right. You should never sell your house when I sell you this one.
Yeah.
Same theory.
You should keep it. So
You should keep it.
same thing. It's like you come in our doors. I don't want to see you for more than 3 years, maybe 5 if it's your first day. Anyways, just
The giving people more than what they expect.
and they don't even know what they expect until you ask them.
That's so true. Whenever I was in the space of being CEO of Indwell, I asked people, what do they want from their business? And they're like, I just want to do a couple of deals a year. I'm like, that's so cool.
Until they do 4 and they're like disappointed, and you're like, "Whoa."
Well, they don't have a business. That's the problem. They're there to occasionally help people, but it's not a business. They don't have a P&L. They don't have an idea of what it looks like to run numbers, or it's all a passive game for some. That's not a business. And I think that's where we fail, is defining business for someone. If you want to be in a business, it's a profitable game that knows their numbers, that knows how to track, so on and so forth. It's a lot of work. I think we have to do an episode 2.
Okay.
I think the icebreaker is who you are. What I want people to know who you are, and then the next level is how have you gotten from A to B inside the space of growing the teams, doing all these things, and then how have you grown as a person, and then we get into adventure, and that's the space I want to go in next.
I don't even know what that means.
Like what? I think your adventure is real estate. Just to be honest with you.
Yeah. Business,
do.
being busy, helping people.
Like it's not bikes or running or no.
I love to work out, but
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Hey, I do want to wish you a lot of success in the space that you guys are running. It's awe-inspiring to see you work. I love where you're at. I love it. Just want to say thanks.
thanks for having me.
Yeah, man.
Come back soon.
Come back soon. All right, so do we do crickets on the way out? There we go. That's
Hopefully it's not crickets.
I'm just kidding.